Alright, good day guys, it's Double H, man. I'm sorry that I've not been able to been putting more stuff out there because basically my comp basically fell down on me, it betrayed me, so I've been out of the game, out of the gym for a few days, but I'm back, hopefully, halfway through in there. But yeah. Universal Soldier Regeneration. I thought I wanted to do this review because I felt like this is a review that needs to be done. Felt that this is a very interesting project, straight to DVD. Didn't get a theatrical release, so yeah. Let me just start off by saying, very simple, very simple. This is a fan film. This is not. It's not a. It can't be classed as a film. I fully understand why this was not a theatrical release. It's not a film. There really isn't any story whatsoever. If you've not watched Universal Soldier before, I would not have. I would say there's no point in you watching this film. This film really, it is really a fan film made by what I believe are fans of the original Universal Soldier and the whole Universal Soldier mythos. Which is why, when I watched it, I was thoroughly enjoyed, and I was thoroughly entertained. But I think, really, it's as if you need to have watched the original film to really get it into what this film is about. Basically, just want to just put up the story out there. It's a very, it's an extremely ABC story. It's based in Russia. These Russian rebels, basically, they're in contact with a bomb, or basically like a bomb in the abandoned area of Chernobyl. Obviously, if you know your history, Chernobyl was where that whole kind of like chemical kind of incident happened, where many people died, and was very controversial. So they're in this place, and based on obviously the nuclear materials that are around this Chernobyl area, if this bomb goes off, it will have a domino effect on most of Russia. So, and these Russian rebels, they have kidnapped the children of the Russian president, and they're saying that if they don't want the children to die and this bomb to go off, then they have to basically release some prisoners that have been held by the Russian government. So that's the tense situation that's there. So obviously, they are soldiers who are on the ground, who are basically there to try and basically rescue these children, and then, obviously, if you know your Universal Soldier law, these Russian rebels have a scientist who has, one of obviously his babies, this a Universal Soldier, killing machine. That's pretty much a one-man army. Played very well by, not acting-wise, but physical-wise and fighting-wise, played very well by a guy called the Pitbull. I think he's a Russian MMA fighter. I believe he's Russian. So that's obviously what it is. And obviously this thing, it starts off quick with a crazy catches, which I thought was done very, very well, a pretty crazy catches where they actually kidnapped the children. So basically, this is the standoff. So these soldiers, obviously, that's coordinated by these the American and some British and Russian people who are trying to get some soldiers in it to rescue the kids and try and basically stop this bomb from the rebels. So, but also as well, they realize, okay, this is actually pretty tough. So they need to also get some of their own top Universal Soldiers, basically, and that is where Jean-Claude Van Damme comes in, because obviously Van Damme was one of the top Universal Soldiers, but he's now been rehabilitated and trying to become a normal man. That's what they're trying to do to Jean-Claude. But obviously they need Van Damme, and they need to now bring him, because obviously the program has been shut down, and they don't want to carry the program on anymore. But the program has pretty much come back up if they're going to alleviate this very tense situation. See, that's pretty much the story. It's very, very basic. There's no point in going into any more detail than that, pretty much. But look, man. Look. if you're looking for a story, something wide-ranging, this is not what this is. And I think I really can't insult this film. I really can't insult this film because at the end of the day, it's like from the get-go, from the very beginning to the very end, I believe that these guys knew what they were trying to do. They were trying to bring back what makes Universal Soldier good. So they were trying to go back to the original Universal Soldier and trying to go back to, this thing of like, these are just these absolute killing machines who have no emotion and are just cold, calculated killers who cannot be stopped. And so they were trying to bring that back with great action and very, very simple stories. And I think really they succeeded in what they were trying to do. I mean, going into deeper, I want to go now. Talking about this guy Pitbull. Obviously, I'm not really a UFC fan. I don't really believe in all of that UFC stuff. So I'm not really a fan of the stuff. So I don't really know of him. But the fight scenes, pretty much, you should get this thing just for that. I fully recommend this film. But some of the stuff this guy pulls. He pulls off one move, which I believe is actually in the Expendables. He pulls off one crazy move where once you see him pull off this move, you're like, how the heck did he do that? Really, so I'm just like, the fights he has and the standards he has with the other soldiers and obviously these Universal Soldiers that they're trying to bring to take him down. Wow. The guy pulls off some amazing moves. And even, that's what like watching this, I'm like, just even watching the way he looks, his aura, it's like, wow, man. And we're getting shoved down with Channing Tatum, with all of these, with Rand Reynolds, these sleazy face guys, and you have these guys like people were like, it's just when you see him for the first time, I was like, man, like this reverts you back to the 80s where you had guys who looked like guys, wrinkles, rough face, jagged edges on their faces, very, very uneven visage. It was like, man, okay, yes, this is real nitty-gritty. But the Pitbull guy, he pulled off some pretty amazing moves, and action-wise, the guy definitely has a future in film because if he's utilized well, again, he hardly said anything, he only said a few words, but if he's utilized well, used well, this guy has some very, very good assets which can be used fully well in a very good action movie, But also now going to Van Damme now. Look. Jean-Claude Van Damme, we have a love-hate relationship because you know what? I respect all these guys. I respect the Van Dammes, the Seagals, the Snipes, and all these people because these guys, they make these low-budget films which appeal to guys like us, the regular guys. So on that level, I respect what Van Damme does, because he makes those particular kinds of films. Your kickboxers, your blood sport, your hard targets, which are. These are cult movies, these are movies that, I've grown up with, knowing. And these are in a very unique market, the kind of action fans market, which unfortunately seems to be dying now because of all the CG. So I respect him for that. But I think maybe it was always coming, but because since this whole JCVD thing and all this stuff, like Van Damme has a tendency to almost destroy a film. I will say this now. People who have seen Universal Soldier 1, that could have been an absolutely amazing classical. That could have been an absolutely amazing classic film. An absolute amazing classic film. If it wasn't for Van Damme showing his bomb, doing this Van Damme stuff, and just bringing some of this weird stuff into the film, it could have been a really amazing film. Because again, you watch that film, Dolph was amazing in that film. I'll get to Dolph. I'll get to Dolph soon, but Dolph was amazing in that film, and the story, the aura, and the tone of it, for most of the time, was like, man, this is like an amazing thing. Now, going to this film, I feel like if Van Damme, I feel he did a lot better in this than he did in part one. Because in part one, he was bringing all this Van Damme comedy and stuff like that, which really I just don't like. Some people like it, but I just don't like the whole Van Damme comedy that he does. It's really not for me. But in this, for the character he was playing, obviously, obviously, like, look, man, Van Damme, he's not the greatest actor in the world, okay?